Good evening, and thank you everyone for attending. My name is Rob Bielan, and I am a proud alumnus, former men's soccer player, and former head coach of the NJCU women's soccer program from 2006 to 2012. I'm here to talk about Julia Caseres and what she meant to the program, the staff, and to me. Initially, Julia was not interested in NJCU. She attended another college during her freshman year, and she had great individual success. But to Julia, that was not enough. Julia wanted to be part of a family and help create something great, similar to what she did as a player and coach at her youth club organization, US Parma. NJCU women's soccer was gaining momentum and a great reputation throughout the NJAC that this team was a close-knit squad who were building something amazing and not to be taken lightly after our 2007 and 2008 rebuilding seasons. And to Julia, that was the allure. What was more of an allure to her was sharing the field with unselfish and incredible players such as Jennifer Albuja, Nicole Sarica, Erica Bonacista, and Jessica Irizarry. So after her freshman year concluded, Julia decided to transfer to NJCU and become a Gothic Knight. And that was when the NJAC would never be the same again. Before our first match of 2009 season, I remember Jessica Irizarry telling Julia, "I can't graduate without an NJAC win." And I remember Julia saying to Jessica, holding her by her shoulders, "I promise you, we'll give you a conference win before you graduate this year." With Julia on the field, with such strong-willed and dedicated players, things changed in the fall of 2009 immediately. Not only did Julia deliver to Jessica her promise of a conference win, but we beat 3 NJAC teams that season, and the dry spell of not winning conference games were in the rearview mirror. Excitement surrounded us, and everyone wanted to watch what our little team could do. One of my most loved memories of that season was Julia running down the tunnel of our players, screaming and bouncing off her friends as her name was announced. She was proud of her last name, and it was go time. Man, she fired us up. The stands became packed, and that season at home, versus Rutgers Newark, we had over 500 spectators in the stands, which were more spectators than previous years combined. My girls made it to the ECAC tournament, first time in program history, and we reached the semifinals. Julia, that first season at NJCU, led the NJAC in every offensive category. But more importantly, Julia finally found a home where she was at peace with a group of women who loved and respected her. This was only the beginning of her journey. 2010 came in, and quick, and with Julia, my 16 on the field, and with her partner in crime, Jen Albuja, where the AC connection was formed, and the sky was the limit. Fear was instilled in every opponent's heart. The AC connection was in full force, and Julia now didn't have to be the lone offensive workhorse. She was sharing the field with future Hall of Famer and sister-in-arms Jen Albuja, and the NJAC had never seen such a dynamic duo on the field, nor will they ever see such symmetry again. Watching them together was like poetry in motion. We finished that season 14-7-1 and made our second trip to the ECAC playoffs and our first ever trip to the NJAC conference playoffs. History was now made, but I prefer to call her story. Julia finished the season with 25 goals and 10 assists, making her the all-time points leader in NJAC history. By 2011, Julia, one half of the AC connection, was rolling along and helped us make a 14-8 overall seasonal record, going 4-4 in the NJAC and again making our second NJAC conference playoffs and our third appearance in the ECAC Division III Metro Women's Soccer Tournament. We were known as the Senior Day Killers that year, and those were the good old days, and I appreciate every minute of them. There's a lot of accolades my number 16 earned and deserved in her collegiate career, and sometimes we would talk about her accomplishments. Our favorites, well, mine was her scoring 100 collegiate goals, and she would always quickly follow up with hers and her favorite. Her proudest achievement was being the C in the AC connection becoming one half of the all-time leading scoring combination in NCAA Division III history with 443 combined points. I couldn't have done it without my girl Jen, and will always be connected in the history books. Now let me tell you about my Julia, my 16. When Julia transferred to NJCU that summer, you could find her at the beach in Avon, New Jersey, with me and my wife and daughters, and in tow, she always brought her baby brother Nico, who she loved and adored. We all clocked some good hours in that ocean that summer, and our time together didn't end there. Off-season, you could find her in my home, watching Disney movies with my daughters Taylor and Kayla, all three cuddled up on the couch under a blanket. During exam time, she would come over for moral support and her favorite, Taylor ham, egg and cheese on a sandwich. When I was done cooking, she was usually passed out from studying, so I'd warm it, and she'd have to eat it on the go so she wouldn't be late for her exams. Julia had this toothy, funny smile that immediately made you smile. My 16 was a Christmas elf, and she spread joy wherever she went. More importantly, she loved my jokes. Now, I wish I could take credit for raising such a beautiful person with such an amazing, incredible heart, but that glory goes to her parents, Margaret and Manny. What a perfect young lady they raised, and I thank them. I also wish I could take credit for her soccer ability, but that glory goes to her youth coach and mentors, Brian Finley, Phil Iliano, and the U.S. Parma staff. Well done to all who had a hand in her development. I was blessed to coach Julia, and when my coaches say Julia was lucky to have me as a coach, I tell them they have it twisted. I was blessed to have her in my life. After graduation, Julia received her degree in criminal justice and went back to where it all started, U.S. Parma. With 100 goals and a national record under her belt, she wanted to give back, and she mentored the next generation of collegiate players. In 2013, still wanting to play, Julia, my 16, went to Majorca, Spain to represent New Jersey law enforcement in a soccer tournament, along with her college teammate Jen Albuja and college coach Katie Feehan. They had great success there, placing second and receiving the silver. While in Spain, she met the love of her life, another New Jersey law enforcement officer, Lexi Meir, and quickly, the two were inseparable. And at this point, Julia knew she was coming back to the U.S. with the gold. In 2018, Julia married Lexi. Julia Caseres, who I used to call my favorite transfer, my beach buddy, my criminal justice grad, and my daughter, I now called my favorite Piscataway cop. Yes, Julia, with her competitive spirit and eagerness for giving back, decided to follow her heart and use her mental and physical toughness to become a police officer. I remember when Julia went to the police academy, she immediately was identified as a standout and was assigned to platoon leader. No shock there. And she finished strong and graduated honorably. Immediately upon graduation, she went to work for the Piscataway Police Department, where she had an amazing career. There was nothing she couldn't do, and always did it well. As a professional firefighter and proud civil servant myself, I was filled with pride when my number 16 was accepted into the police academy. Being a civil servant is definitely a calling. We put ourselves between the innocent and the danger, and we don't regret our decisions for a second. Watching over the innocent was the way Julia always lived her life. I thank God for our time together, and she's never far from my thoughts. So now I ask you all to stand and join hands with your neighbor, as our NJCU community is strongest when we all join together. And for my Julia, my 16, please join me for 16 seconds of silence to pay honor and respect to our angel and Gothic knight, Julia Caseres. Thank you. I am proud of Julia, and she has earned and greatly deserves to join our NJCU Hall of Fame wall next to former Jersey City State and NJCU Hall of Famers Pepe Casayas, Jim Jacobson, Jeffrey East, and Katie Feehan. So again, I am humbled and elated to introduce this inductee into our 21st Hall of Fame class, my number 16 and NJCU Women's Soccer's third Hall of Famer, our 100-goal scoring, NCAA record-holding, and the pride of the Piscataway Police Department. Please stand and applaud as we welcome our own Julia Caseres to our NJCU Athletics Hall of Fame.